Hi everyone, it's maths time again. And what are we looking at today? Well, we're looking at division. So you know all about multiplication and you're doing an amazing job with multiplying. Let's have a look at division and see how similar and different it is to multiplication. Well everyone, we have a group of pegs here. How many pegs are there? Easy. You can see that there are 2. Fantastic. Now, when we multiply, you remember it's a bit like adding the same number again and again. So if I was to multiply this perhaps by 2, you are doubling. How many more pegs would I be adding? That's right, another group of 2. That's right. So I am multiplying. What about if I was to make groups of 3 groups of 2? That's right, we would have to put another group, which would make 3 groups of the 2, which would make, that's right, 6. Everybody's doing it already. All right, and if we can keep going, how many would that be? That's right, 8 groups. We've got 4 different groups, but it's still multiplying 2 in each. Now, how many times could we keep this going? Okay, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 groups of 2. Could I keep going on and on and on and on and on? What do you think? Got mixed people saying we could go on for some time until we filled up the room, maybe. Lots and lots of pegs, or until I run out. Well, actually, multiplication can go on infinitely. Now, is this getting larger or smaller as I put more pegs in groups? That's right, it is getting bigger. So the more I multiply, the bigger the amount gets. Well done, everybody. You're really getting the idea of multiplication. Well, now I'm going to show you a whole group of pegs. A whole lot of pegs here. So how about we see how many that we've got all together. We've got 2, 4, 6, it's handy being able to skip count, isn't it? 8, 10, 12. That's right, so we've got all together 12. Now, if I was dividing, what does that actually mean? Maybe you can stop the video and have a talk about the word dividing when we are doing division. Okay, stop and pause the video and have a little think, maybe even write some words in your books or on the board all about what division means. Amazing, everyone. I'm sure that you had lots of thoughts about what division is. Well, I know that you know all about multiplication. So let's have a really good look at what's involved in division and what that means. Now, in division, I've got a set here of how many? 12 pegs. Now, if I divided this, how might I be able to divide these? There's probably quite a few ways that I could divide it. I'm sure that you've got lots of suggestions of how you might divide it. So what does actually dividing mean? Dividing might mean that I can split it with 6 on one side and 6 on the other. I have divided it into how many groups? That's right, I've divided it into 2 groups of 6. I have split it. I wonder if there's a word there that we are going to use a lot of. All right, put it back together again. Now, I might split it into What's happened there? How many groups did I split it into? That's right, I split it into 6 groups, and there were 2 in each group. That's right, very clever. There are 2 in each group. I wonder how else I might be able to do that. All right, have another go. Maybe pause the video again. What else can I do with 12 pegs? How else might I split it? And have a go again at thinking about what does the word division mean. All right, how did you go, everyone? Did you find any other ways to split these pegs, to divide these pegs? Well, when we are talking about doing it in even, when we are splitting them evenly, we might also split them into groups of 3. How many groups would we have? We would have 4 even groups of 3 pegs. What else does that tell us? What else could we do with that number 4 and 3? Could I also split it into groups with 4? Let's have a look. Do you think that might work? Because we had 4 groups of 3. Do you think then that it flips around and you could do it the other way around? It does. Let's have a look. Let's see if it does. You think so? It works. Fantastic. So you can see it looks different, but we kind of have the same numbers. It just means a different thing. Now we could look at this and say, this is multiplication. Wow. Is it multiplication? Do you remember what we just discussed about multiplication? When you multiply something, we are looking at something that can get bigger and bigger and bigger. Are we looking at making this more? That's right. We are not making this more. We are always looking at one set to start with. It might be 12. It might be 100. It might be 30. Who knows what the number is that you start with? But it is always a number that you start with and then you split it. So that's what dividing is all about. So can you tell me then, if it's about splitting, is it getting more and more? No, it's not. That's right. Is it getting less? It kind of is. It is ending up the same amount in total. It's always going to be the same amount. But when you split it, the end number that we end up with is going to be smaller. That is a little bit confusing, isn't it? We know that when we multiply, we add. We can get bigger and bigger and more. Let's have a look now at how that might actually look on paper when we talk about getting less. All right, so here is our word division and our symbol for division. Now remember, we don't join it up, otherwise it would look like a addition symbol. We don't want that. This is our division. You can see it's a bit like splitting. It's got a line that splits the 2 dots, doesn't it? So if you can try and remember, that is our division, and that means that we are splitting things. So we had how many? If we are going to write this in a number sentence, how many did we have to start with? That's right, you're all telling me it was 12. That's right. Now, what symbol do we need to use? That's right, the division symbol. It looks like it's splitting, doesn't it? Now, what was one of the things that we could have done? How about we start with 2? Because we know how to multiply by 2. We know how to skip count by 2. So let's have a look maybe at 2's. If we were to divide it, to split it into, how many parts did I say? 2. I wonder if you can recall how many we're going to end up. So we're going to split it. Let's see if I can magically do a splitting. Let's see. Yes, I split it. Let's have a look. Yes, I split the pegs. Now, how many did we end up with in each group when I split it into 2? You can see, you can tell me, yes, it is 6. Fantastic. So we split it into 2 parts. Excellent. Now, what if I was to split it into 6 parts? I wonder how many would be in each group. What do you think? You think so? All right. So I'm going to see if I can split them into 6, and let me see if that works. I'm going to split them into 6. What I think from what you were shouting, it sounds like there should be roughly 2 in each. So I split them into 6 groups. And how many? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and they look even, don't they? There are 2 in each group. So what number do we start with? You think that the total, the large amount that we started with, the set amount? We do. We start with the set amount. Has the set amount changed? I didn't change it. It's still 12. That's right. So we keep that. We use our division or splitting symbol. That's right. And we split it into how many groups? We did. We split it into 6 equal groups. And what do we end up with? We did. We ended up with 2 in each group. That's fantastic, everyone. So you can maybe think about and write some more words if you like, thinking about what division is all about. And I'd like you or your teacher to think of a number. It could be 12. Maybe some people could stay with the number 12 and continue on exploring division with the number 12. Maybe you can find some Unifix cubes or some pom-poms and pick out the number 12. Or your teacher might say, no, I think you need a bit more of a challenge, and you might pick the magic number 24 or 36, and they might write it on a sticky note and stick it on your table or on your book to explore. So remember, you need to grab how many that the teacher or your guide has asked you to explore. Do you get any more than that amount? No, we are not making any more. This is not multiplication. We have a set amount. Once you've got that set amount, put the rest away in a container, put the rest away somewhere else, and you work with just that set amount. And you are then looking at splitting into amounts. So you're going to split them. Okay, you might split them like that. If you're not able to split them like that, you might split them by sharing, as you learnt the other day about sharing into groups. That may also help you. But this is talking about what division actually is. It is about splitting a set amount. And do we end up with more than what we started like we do in multiplication? No, we actually end up with less. And have a look at this one. Is it the same in this number sentence? That's right, 2 is less than 12. So you should end up with a number that is less than. Now I wonder, are there any patterns that you might observe then? How I've said that there is this big difference between multiplication and division. What is the similarities then, and how we might be able to flip these later on? You might have time to talk about those, or you might notice them. That's another question that you could explore as well. All right, well, I hope that you have lots of fun thinking about what division is, exploring splitting, and having a go at finding those groups, making sure that you have a set amount and that you end up with a smaller, you're looking at things getting less. All right, I hope you have lots of fun. Until next time.